Uh, 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 uh. Burp, burp. Oh, maybe over here. Maybe over here. Is that here?
There
Oh.
I am. There I am. What are you doing?
What am I doing? What are you doing? What is anybody ever doing? I don't even know.
I like that. There she is.
Bethany! This is a very long time coming. It's ridiculous how long this has been in the works and never happened. So here it is happening. And we're crossing our fingers. And then we're putting those fingers over our eyes so that they're like X's over our eyes because we're dead ass.
What the hell? What's up, man?
So I remember asking you, I don't even remember how long at this point it was, about you hanging out with me on here and doing the show, and you were like, but I'm not going to be relevant and it's not going to matter, and you were like, oh, but I won this thing in this year, and if it's not in this year anymore, then it doesn't matter. And I was like, the significance of what you think it is doesn't need to exist because you're somebody who I give value to. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what title you have before or after your name. You have value to me. So I want to, before anything else, before we jump into any topics at all, I just want to say how welcome and safe you are and how grateful I am that you've decided to carve out some time today for me.
Oh, thank you so much. It's an honor to be here, too. You're such a good friend. I know, it's been really a long time. I'm sorry, man.
You know,
it sucks.
You have a way of experiencing joy that I don't know if I have seen it a lot in my life. I except like maybe kids, maybe children, the way children experience joy, the way you do. But otherwise, I don't think I've ever seen anybody. Like I took video. It was at the
when we were together in Halle Berry set.
Yeah.
And, okay.
And you like high five somebody, and then before you like the person was driving off in their car, and you high fived them in their car window, and you were like, and you were like doing this like super goofy dance, and I was like, that was just joy. I don't know anything else except for like that was somebody who.
Yo, I need that. You have footage of that?
I think I do. I do.
Oh my God! Guess what? You caught the moment that I got my Chrysler 300.
Oh.
That was. And I know exactly who I was high-fiving. It was like a big surprise. And we worked all week. And as you know, because I think I brought you to that set.
Yes,
actually,
you
right?
did. You very much did. Yeah.
Well, you deserved it. You look so fine. So I was like, you know, we were dirty, wearing the same thing all week, and like, oh man, that week sucked so bad at the end. You know, it was like a great experience, don't get me wrong. But yeah, at the end of the week, my husband was like, guess what? And I was just like,
so that was what that moment was.
Yeah, I know exactly what that moment was. That was like the best moment ever, and I still had that car, but
I was so pleased that I was able to capture that because I started seeing it happen. And I was like, what is she doing? And then I like took my phone out and I recorded you. And I was like, that's my friend enjoying the hell out of herself. She's so much inside of joy. I want things like I remember there was an episode of Jerry Springer. I was watching it at my grandmother's house when my grandma was still alive. And someone got told they weren't the father, and the guy started doing backflips. He was doing backflips on the stage, and I was like, "Oh man, I want something that makes me that happy."
My car makes me that happy.
So
I don't know, though. Like, you know, kids. I mean, some people might have that thought where they're doing backflips if they're not the father, but I don't think I had that issue. Oh my god!
Well, you can't deny a kid because like you've
No,
got to be
as a
the
woman,
one.
you really
Yeah,
can't. I
yeah, you
remember
can't.
that. Yeah, I made that. Trust me.
How many do you have?
I have 2 kids.
Woo!
Yeah, they're little too. They're 4 and 2 years old. So it's been
Um,
pretty difficult, and that's probably why I took a break with my career, and I'm getting back into things as of last year when we met up and stuff. But
yeah,
back in strong now.
you're back in hard. Yeah, you're back into making your career happen for you.
Yeah, it's funny though, because this time around I'm like really not doing acting like I was. Now it's just music and scoring in movies and just putting my work in film. So, it's been
Yeah,
fun.
I'm very stoked for you. I want to just say
Thank you very much.
I'm not one that really dishes out gestures like congratulations or I'm sorry or happy birthday or thank yous, and I for the most part think that those gestures are sort of hollow and glad-handed, right?
Mhm.
Insincere, I guess. No, I'll give thank yous when I sincerely mean it, but I'm not going to just like willy nilly throw out a bunch of gestures. So I want to say from the bottom of my heart, congratulations, because that's
Thank
cool.
you very much.
That's cool ass.
Yeah, well, it's definitely a dream come true. So that's like what I've wanted to do my entire life, more so than acting anything. So, I will take that congratulations with my heart. Thank you so much.
So
Yeah, I love doing what I'm doing now. It's been crazy though with the kids, but
mhm.
other than that, I feel when they get a little bit older, I'm gonna be working like crazy.
Yeah, well, I mean, they'll be able to have the independence to allow you to
Hmm.
not be there, to be doing
Yeah,
other stuff.
they're really needy right now, but my husband, he's been really really helpful. So I'm very very grateful for that because a lot of people in the industry like don't really have kids or husbands, and somehow I'm doing it. But yeah, it's I mean, I can't believe like how far I've come in just like a year and a half getting back into everything. So I feel like come 2 or 3 years from now, I'm not gonna have any issues at all.
Mm-hmm.
You have a pretty free life though, right? I mean,
Me?
I was like asking you to go on set, and you were like, "Yeah, sure, no problem," because you didn't have to have like anybody with like the kids or anything.
Nope,
So
no
you,
wife, no kids. Pretty,
yeah,
pretty.
it's it was cool to see like somebody that I knew 8 years ago, and like you can just still go and do your thing, and I'm just like. I'm not gonna say I'm jealous of it, but sometimes I'm like, that must be nice. I remember
Well,
what that's like.
I mean, there's a level of freedom. Yeah, I mean, there's a level of, but I mean,
Mhm.
I've I don't want to say that I've I've very much enjoyed because I don't want to sound like I would be speaking down on anyone who's decided to make that decision. But for me, I felt like I've always been too selfish. Maybe I want to say selfish in the most non-gross way because
No way.
because I don't want to say it's not. I don't take it as a gross selfish, but it's like uh, I I have a hard time. Uh, I have a hard time putting other people, especially like if I had responsibilities like that, and I feel like I would overanalyze. I overanalyze everything already, but when it comes to like a child, I would be so driving myself nuts trying to overanalyze everything because ultimately,
Oh, you do for sure.
I know that this person is going to wind up growing into a human, like an adult human person, and they'll wind up finding the things that they can blame on me. Even the things that I tried the hardest to make sure they didn't have something to blame on me, they'll have something. They'll be like, "Oh, he was so overly sensitive for like, it'll always be something." And like, my sister Jess,
you
right?
just gotta make sure you just gotta be the coolest. Like, I never question my parenting. I question their childing. Like, that's it.
You're doing a bad job.
I know I'm the coolest. I'm the shit. Trust me. And that's how you just got to be too. Like, you would be the shit. Like, if you were the dad, you'd be the cool dad too. Mm-hmm. It's always the childing. Trust me.
Well, we are an evolved version of what we wanted as parents, what we didn't have as parents. Like, you'd hope that every generation is better than the one previous to it. So, but you know my sister Jess, right?
I don't.
Okay, actually. So my little sister Jess is 11 years younger than me. So,
oh wow.
So I was 11 when she was born. So like I grew up with like having the responsibilities of like a young parent, because like my dad wasn't around and our dad wasn't around. So I mean, I took like that big brother father figure role very seriously, and the kind of person that Jess is now, because she's 26 now. She's an adult. She's a very good adult, and she's got her shit together. And I'm so proud as a big brother, but as kind of like a father figure kind of way, where I would go like, I don't know if I'd want to try to measure up to how good she turned out, because like if a kid isn't as good as what Jess is, I don't want to.
I don't know. You're pretty awesome. You're like a pro wrestler. You know, you're kind of like Aquaman. You're Atlantic City's Aquaman. That's what everybody calls you. Behind your back.
Yeah, I heard that was the Whispers.
Yes, that was the Whispers on the set of Bruised. Mm-hmm. That you were Aquaman, and I was like, yeah, I know him.
You were like, he's here because of me, right?
He's here because of me. That's how I pitched you to Weiss, Bear, and Ryan. I was just like, yeah, I know this guy. He's like a pro wrestler. He's awesome. Kind of looks like Aquaman. And they were like, bring him up.
It was such a relief. Like I hadn't seen you in like 7-8 years before that happened.
I know.
And before that, it was a while before I had seen you. And
yeah,
it was.
I had so much happen in that time. So.
You had quite a journey there in that time.
Yes, I did.
Did you feel comfortable with talking about all that?
I mean, sure. Any questions about it, or you want me to just like?
No, I mean,
go right in.
Kind of walk me through like what how you're comfortable with wording it. I mean, I wouldn't want to go like, well, tell me about this, man. Like I'm some kind of gotcha journalist. I really would like to kind of understand what you're, because the way it plays out, which I mean. This is Tarantino style storytelling. I'm saying it from the beginning to the end. It's like inspiration. It's so inspiring, and I can't speak your story for you, or I can't plant the ideas of what your story is. But your story is so inspirational, and you have such a glorious light around the takeaways from it. And I want you to articulate it in the way that best makes sense.
Well, I kind of try to briefly tell my whole story because it's so much, because I always believe that I lived 4 lifetimes. So much has happened, but also, there's a piece of me that can never fully tell my truth, because when I do so, it will affect the lives of people that have not yet come forward ready to tell their truths. So there's always like I'm always careful on the way that I touch my subjects, but pretty much started out like, my family was a bunch of entertainers, and there's, some gangsters in there, there's some mobsters in there, some gypsies in there. So like, it's a crazy lucrative family where there's party businesses, there's drivers, there's people in prison forever. And you have my mother and my father, and they used to foster kids, and it was a very dysfunctional household. However, from the outside it looked perfect, very, very nice. Everybody thought we were rich and snobby, and we really were just like crazy people. Like mommy dearest shit. It was like really abusive and really freaking mental in that house. So you have to understand, like, everything from, like, the only thing I feel like my parents did right was like clothe us and feed us properly, because like everything was bad in that house.
Mm.
Like there was like molesting, like there was everything going on, and just crazy religious rituals and stuff where like it was embarrassing at times. So like you have to understand where like I was like brainwashed to believe like I was like a certain type of religion, where like today as an adult I'm like, that's really strange. Like, so
Mm-hmm.
I had to battle a lot of these things, and I ended up just kind of slipping into the gothic drug scene.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, it was such an escape that I really, really found a liking to more like the dealing end of it. So not just using it. I found like a way to make money, a way to become popular, a way for people to always like need me and want my company. And I felt important for the first time and heard for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow that consumed me. But in the midst of everything, I started like investing in myself, like headshots and going for singing, going for acting, because people always never denied my talent, even though I had like a drug habit and a way of life. But nobody ever denied that the talent was there, the passion. And I ended up losing it all because I got so wrapped up in the drug scene that I ended up getting hemmed up, and I had to do a 3-year bid in prison and rehab and all that stuff. So it was a mess, but I'm back stronger than ever, and I am. Let's see how. I don't even keep count. Like, a lot of people do like the 12 steps, and I no hard feelings on the 12 steps. I love you people, I really do, but it's not for me. I don't keep count like, oh, I have 8 years clean, because like I'm a total pothead, but I am like 8 years clean off of hard drugs. So if that counts for anything.
It's so funny. I think I told you this story, but I mean I may have, but I forget if I did or not. I dated a girl who I think it was like right before I met you. The girl was like she was like, "Hey, I kept going like, something's up. What's going on? You're so like shady and I don't understand it. Why don't you just tell, like, you're so vague with your stuff. You're so like broad about stuff. Just say what you want to say. Say what you mean. Tell me what's going on. What is happening?" And she was like, "I'm a drug addict." And I was like, "Oh, okay. I get it now." And then she was like, "So with that being said, let's break up." She's like, you're
What?
yeah, because she was like, let's break up because you don't deserve that. You're too good of a guy. You're too good of a guy to have to deal with shady and blah blah blah. Like that. Like she's like, I'm gonna get myself clean. When I get myself clean, promise me that we'll be able to get back together and start this whole thing all over again. I was like, all right, good. Then she just fell deeper into the drug hole, like deep, deep, deep. And I didn't talk to her for years and years. And then she wound up calling me, and she was like, "Hey, I just want to call you to make sure I let you know how sincerely sorry I am, and how I'm sorry about all the hurt that I caused you, any of the sadness that you had due to my addiction. And I was like, okay.
Oh
She's
no, is she
uh,
making amends with
she,
her steps?
right. So she goes, so you forgive me? And I was like, I forgave you before you said anything. I didn't. It's so far out of my brain.
Yeah.
I was like, it's not something I hold. It's not weight that I carry. And she's like, so yes, then. And I was like, sure, yeah, I forgive you, of course. And she was like, good, I needed that for my sixth step, like, or whatever. She was like, oh, it's part of my step. I'm like, oh, so when you said sincerely sorry, you were just saying that so I'd say I forgive you because you just needed to get your steps out of the way. I was like, well, I hope this works.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's a great program and all, but I don't know. I don't do that. They made me do the program for like 3 years when I had to go, like, before I went to prison. They make you go to rehab and prepare you for prison, pretty much. I don't understand that. I was just like, right. But they pretty much make you go to these meetings, and I know a thing or two about it. And yeah, I know about the steps. And they want you to, like, call your brothers and sisters and stuff, and you're like, no. Yeah, I can't. I mean, kudos to anybody that can, though. Like, honestly, that's wonderful. But
well, I mean, it's got to be humbling. It's got to be very humbling to make amends with people like that.
Yeah, sure. But, I mean, if you're forgiven, because, like, man, I remember I tried doing it, and I felt like my sisters were still like, I was just like, all right, never mind. So whatever. If it works, that's great.
So what are your sisters, what's your relationships like with your sisters nowadays?
Pretty much non-existent, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
No.
So the forgiveness didn't work?
I did for a while when my mom died. We tried, just, because of the times and everything, but
Right.
I just feel that there's a lot of hurt and abuse and a lot of, like, things that no matter how hard we try, I think, like, we need, like, Dr. Phil or something, honestly.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of the untreated learned behavior, I mean,
Yeah.
coming up in that environment, like, how you grow from it or don't grow from it says a lot about the kind of relationships you keep.
Well, the thing is, I feel like I'm the only one that's doing the growing because, like, I go to counseling, I go to therapy, I've been through things, and I'm usually the scapegoat, and it's just, like, easy to put blame on me because that has worked for a long time. But it's just one of those things where, like, maybe I'm always going to be viewed as that kid, and I'm, like, a whole adult now with my own family, and you do what you want to me, but when it falls where, like, my kids are subjected to certain behaviors that I'm not comfortable with anymore, that I rose above, I can't, just because you're blood, I can't subject my family because I have a job now as a mother. It's my most important role in the world. So it's my job to make sure that they're not subjected to certain behaviors.
It's your role. It's your role.
Yeah.
The role of protector isn't just from violence and hate. It's from manipulation. It's from abuse. I fully understand that, and I recognize it.
There's just boundaries that my sisters don't respect or understand, and I'm just gonna leave it at that because I don't want anybody to get all pissed off at me. Like, not that it matters, but I just can't let my children be around that anymore. And since I have boundaries, I'm apparently crazy.
Well, what's cool is I say a thing about me and about my life that I think can apply to you and your life. But I say a thing where I say, I always wanted to live the type of life where if I wasn't me, I'd want to be me.
Yeah.
if I if I if I was if I wasn't me, I'd look at me and be like, "That's a dope ass life. I wish I was that guy." And I don't have to wish I was that guy. I could just be that guy.
Well, I mean, I kind of feel that way about myself.
Yeah,
You know,
I see it.
it's a shame, like, you know, the stuff when I was a child, but like, you know, I'm not a victim to that anymore. Like,
Mhm.
life's been good for about 8, 9 years consistently. You know,
Mhm.
I mean, other than prison, that sucked, obviously, but I've been on the straight and narrow, and you know, I have a great house. I have a wonderful car, as you
Mhm.
know, because you saw my excitement.
I gotta
I'm
see if I
healthy,
have that.
kids are healthy, like, you know, marriage is going. We just have a new house last year. I feel great. And I love seeing that I was actually in a prison cell and, you know, talking to people and living with people that, you know, I literally watch on Netflix on Snap and shit. And I was like, you know, being bunkies with these women, and here I am, you know, years later. I'm like in a huge, beautiful house, great car. Like I love life today, you know. So I can't complain. I hustled my ass off when I got out of prison, and it's all about progress, you know, not taking those steps backwards. And I told you, like, you couldn't tell me to ever go back the way I was before, like doing drugs and stuff. Like when I cleaned up for my man, I really did.
You know,
Yeah.
as so, what was the the charge that was 3 years? The 3 year bit.
Possession of CDS, and I had a conspiracy charge that was dropped,
Okay.
which I was sworn to never talk about it
Okay.
to
Don't
make
talk
sure it
about
never opens again.
don't talk about it. Don't.
It never happened.
It's not a thing that you're required to chat about here. Not here. Not now.
Yeah, well, it was conspiracy, but that, thank God, got dropped, because then I was looking at like 10 years.
Thank God. I
So
mean, really.
yeah, it was pretty bad. So um, but you know, the CDS, it's I was definitely a heavy drug user once upon a time, and I needed professional help.
So, I mean, we talked about this when last, what was it, 2 years ago when we were on set at Boardwalk
Yeah.
Hall, and we talked about like when we first met and how you were like talking to me about cocaine, and I had never talked to anybody about cocaine before, and like I didn't know
I
anything.
wasn't trying to get you to do
No,
any
no,
of
no, 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 no.
it.
I
Okay,
know you
that's
weren't.
not that.
No, no, no. I know you weren't
Somebody
trying to get.
cokehead.
No, I wasn't trying to accuse you at all. Here, let's talk about amends you got to make, and then I'll make you be accountable for
I'm so
this.
sorry.
No,
All right, go
no,
on. I'm sorry.
no, but it
Like,
was
where's this going?
no, but it was definitely like I had like remember we like went out to eat and we like got our own lunch because you had done the first movie that I co-wrote with Steve Dotson, and
Yes, that's
and
correct.
you and I went to the diner and just like hung out that day, and we were just having such a cool ass time, and I knew that the type of person you were was not defined by something outside of that, and it was like
Thank
there was not a moment of judgment to you in any way. I think
Thank you.
I think for the most part, and this is also the other thing we talked about, I was like, oh man, if she wasn't involved with the person she's involved with, then I would probably try something here.
Oh, I don't even know if that person's alive anymore. The person I was involved with. Oh my God, we were into such dark stuff. Well, that's a shame because, you know, yeah, that was great because back then
Can you say or
it was
do what
straight
you
down
just
to
did?
like Aquaman. Huh?
Say whatever you said or did. Yeah. Well, that's that's great. That's awesome, and I couldn't be happier for you. I really, honestly, like when we
Oh,
like when we got to see each other and we got to catch up on set and we got like to hang like pals and like just kind of like
yeah.
air it all out and learn it all. Like it was the neatest thing, and that was like one of my favorite takeaways from that whole experience.
Well,
I mean,
I think there was like a lot for you that happened with that whole experience, and I was just
mm,
like happy to,
yeah,
introduce you back to the game because you were kind of like looking for something new again, and I'm like,
mm,
hey, I'm getting started. Come with me, you know. And
yeah.
now, like, look at you. You're wrestling. You're doing your thing and podcasting like crazy. Like, I'm so happy for you.
Thank you, thank you.
But yeah, it was great to like.
Dude.
I don't know what made me think of you that time, but they were just saying like, to have somebody bill, and I just happened to think of you because I always enjoyed working with you on set, and like how we would go out to lunch or whatever and just talk. And you were actually one of the only industry friends I had that wasn't always trying to like pressure me to like be a boyfriend or like do more drugs or whatever. Like you were actually one of the only ones that didn't do any drugs.
I,
So
I mean,
it was cool to be around you because
I
I
mean,
secretly didn't want to be that way.
I smoke weed, but that's
Yeah,
it.
well, that doesn't count. Who does?
Right,
Who doesn't? Come on.
right. but yeah,
If you don't smoke weed, you're a liar and you're miserable.
but yeah, I mean, I
Well,
think,
he's doing gummies.
and I think I told you it was like right when we were done shooting that, right when we were done shooting that was like when my life went for like the big change. Also, like I had we did that thing in July, and then in August, 10 years ago now, 10 years ago, 2011. It'll be 10 years in August. I had that grand mal seizure that almost ended my life.
Yeah, no, that's crazy too.
Gross,
I
gross.
had no idea about that until you told me about that because it's funny.
Because we were
We had like a
disconnected
little
for so
clip
long.
going and nobody told me about that.
Yeah, we were disconnected for a little while,
Yeah.
and I'm glad that that's over. I I look forward.
What was that like? Like waking up from that experience.
Um, well, I think it changed me for the better in so many ways, and I think honestly, and as weird as it sounds, and there's no scientific explanation for it at all, there's no medical explanation for it at all, but I think that coming on the other side of that made me smarter. It's like somehow I'm smarter, and like I pick things up quicker, and I became a better performer. Like
That's great.
everything I wanted to perform in, I performed better since that happened. Like I
Has there
became
been any like thing that's therapy to you? Like, do you use music or is it just podcasting that's helped you get better? Like,
uh, well, I didn't start the podcast till 2017. So it had been a while. Like I think I think wrestling was a big part of it. I think music was a part of it. Um I think the company that I kept was a big part of it. I think the reflection and the discussions with people that love me and care about me, who were there for me, and that all was therapy for me. And I mean, I was also in counseling, so like
yeah,
I had some serious I had some serious adjusting, I guess, coping, some identity crisis that I had to deal with because I couldn't be me anymore. I wasn't. I had to stop being me for. I had to stop being me. When I say stop being me, I had to stop being Corey Castle, and I had to go back to
yeah.
being James. I had to go back to being James for a year or so, and 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 I was
That's solid.
What's that?
So that does suck.
Yeah, and I was like, "Oh, I can't lift weights anymore. I can't. I can't." I thought they were going to cut my hair, but what? They got the look. It's all there. But I thought they were gonna cut it all off. So like when they told me about it, they I was like automatically like, okay, so you're saying I can't work out, I can't wrestle, and you're gonna cut my hair? Just don't do it. I just don't want it. Just let me live what I got left and be who I am. And they were like, yeah, that's not going to be a long time. You're not going to have a whole lot of time left. Like you're not going to make it to 34. And I was like, oh, all right. So just do it. And that was more of my mom. My mom playing that protective role that you're playing now. My mom was like, doing it. Stop being a dick.
Oh yeah. I don't even care if my kid was in their 30s or not. 20. Yeah. Do it. Yeah. Zap.
I don't know. I was 27. I was almost a member of the Forever 27 Club.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so scary.
And
so you're like a big time survivor, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. Now I just got.
I'm sorry I wasn't there for you. I would have been, as you know, but I promise you, nobody, not one of those people told me that would know us mutually. So.
Well, I mean, I'm
still like in shock when you tell me this. I remember when you told me on set we had to be quiet, and I was like, wait. So wait, oh my God, talking in between.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't. The same thing. Like I took myself personally out of the idea that like taking things personally that like people don't know about it or don't talk about it or like don't tell others about it, because it's like what is it going to get me? What's it going to get me? Like, and it's the same thing I had to kind of discover after years of like, for so many years, I would actually get mad at people who would call me James out in public, like in like a wrestling locker room, or like if people would call me my real name in front of people who didn't know my real name, I would get upset and I would be offended. And I got to the point where I'm like, whatever, like it doesn't matter. Like it's not changing my life. Like if that helps that person feel like they've got the inside scoop and feel like they're cool and they're my friend, like most likely anybody who calls me that knows me from before I was ever Corey Castle. So like what's 2002 was when I picked that name, and anybody who calls me James would have known me way before that. And what's that?
So gotcha.
Yeah. So I mean, and the thing is, like, it's funny because I was on the phone with somebody the other day, and I had it on speakerphone, and the guy called me Jim, and my mom was sitting there, and she was like, "It's not Jim," and she was getting all mad, and I was like, "You got to calm down. He doesn't mean it. He doesn't mean it in a way where it's going to hurt it doesn't hurt my feelings at all. I'm fine with it."
Oh, you hang out with your mom a lot?
All the time, yeah. Hang out with my mom. I
used to hang out with my mom a lot too. She would get that way. Everybody used to try to call me Brittany, and she used to like, no, it's Becca. But my sister actually named me. One of my well, to me, she was like so much older than me. See, I'm like the exact opposite from you. She's so much older than me that she was like more of a nanny, but my older sisters swear that she was like a foster kid that my mom took in. But the oldest one, she actually named me Bethany, because my name was Cimarron until like the last 10 minutes.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know what my mom was thinking. She was clearly like an acid person.
I've never met someone named Cimarron before.
Yeah, Cimarron or Bethany.
What is the significance? What is Cimarron? What is that?
That's what our
What's
name
the?
should have been. It means wild stallion because we have Cherokee in our blood.
But
And that
isn't a
actually
stallion?
means, yeah, it's like wild stallion, like a wild horse.
Yeah, but isn't a stallion a male horse?
That doesn't matter. Boom. I don't care.
Boom. Non-binary. Non-binary.
I don't mind. You know, he, gay, they, I like it all. So wild stallion is what Cimarron means. And then there's Bethany, peace. I'm not peaceful.
Well, you've become peaceful.
I've become peaceful. I don't know. I swear my husband, he'll be like, my cheeks, they hurt so bad. My eyes hurt so bad. Cause like they're always rolling around his head. He's always laughing at me. So like, I'm still crazy and I'm still bubbly. I'm just not on drugs anymore. So if you ask me, it's like worse because I have nothing to like just like settle me down. I'm just kind of like all the time.
Yeah.
So
well, that's a great way to be. I mean, it's a cool example too. Like for your kids to watch you be that way, it's gonna make them cool ass people as they grow up, as they
I
grow
was
old.
telling him it's good because he's like very like opposite of me. It was funny. He was almost a state trooper.
Mm-hmm.
So we're really different.
Uh-huh.
And I always tell him it's good though because our kids will never be able to get away with anything because I've seen it all. I've done it all. I even know, like, even when they go to smoke their first cigarettes, I'm gonna be like, give me a kiss. Like, I know how to smell it the right way. Like, I'm gonna know everything. And then he's so strict. So I'm like, our kids should turn out okay. They should. Well, I don't know. It's not like when you like have a baby, they should hand you a manual and say, like, this is how you do things. They just trust you with a human. They're like, here's your tiny human, go home. And you're like, what?
They go, you had 9 months to figure out what you're going to do. We had 9 months to figure out, to do the research, read the books that are out, and good job. Here you go.
And then you go on TikTok and they're like throwing cheese slices at the babies. And I'm like, I don't think that's what you do to get them to stop crying. I'm not a doctor or anything, but.
Well, I mean, if I could give my advice, I would say string cheese might be better than cheese slices. Maybe like a little piece of, you just peel it off one at a time and just throw the string itself. Just peel the string, throw one little.
I'm gonna do that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna make that the next trend.
The next trend on TikTok.
I'm gonna give you credit. I'm gonna make sure you're tagged.
I didn't realize that throwing cheese slices on children was a thing that was happening on TikTok.
Yeah, I'm not part of the trend. I don't really do that, but apparently that's what you're supposed to do. And my mom, she passed away very shortly after my first son. So like I'm truly in the dark here trying to figure it out as a first timer. And like, I Google everything. I read all the books. And then you go on TikTok and it's just like all lies. I read 9 months of lies because these kids stop crying instantly. And I'm just still like, it just doesn't feel right. I can't bring myself to do it.
Just let's try the string cheese method.
I will.
So I want to make sure. So when I started doing the show, I had I'd only been doing it for a little while, and then my mom told me this story, and I've told the story on this podcast a million times. So prepare for the 1,000,000th and one time if you're listening to the show and you've heard the story. Stick around. You'll hear it more times. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so you'll hear it next week too. But
should we drum roll?
So my mom told me that she had saved these voicemails. She had saved these voicemails that were left on her phone and put them onto a disc so that she could listen to them anytime. The voicemail, one was from her mother and one was from her best friend. And they were and then my mom said she did that because she was like, you know how like when people pass, you forget what their voice sounds like? And I was like, well, man, I don't want that. I don't want that for me. Like I want part of what I want the show to be is so like, this is a time capsule. This is a my voice learning lessons from the start till now and continuing every new now. And there's different lessons, right? So I wanted to make sure I say things on the record to people who matter to me, people who fascinate me, people who inspire me. So I want to say how important it is to let you know how much gratitude I have for the currency of your effort, because the attention span nowadays, like when was the last time you were bored? Do you remember the last time you were bored?
When I was in prison.
Yeah, I mean, being bored is optional now. So I want to make sure I say to you on the record, I love you and I thank you, and
I love you.
And I'm excited that this is still just the start of our friendship, and it's been 10 years now. It's been 10 years, and I still feel like it's just the very start. And I hope that we can continue doing work together and have fun, and maybe when you start your podcast, I'll be a guest on one of your first episodes.
Oh, I know. I always think about doing something like that, but I don't have the dedication that you have for it, man. Like, this is a lot of different personalities to deal with. You like, bless your heart, man, because I can't. I'm thinking of questions, and I always have this problem with time, and I'm just like, oh man, if it's not long enough, it's gonna suck. If it's too long, it gets drunk. Even now, I'm like, okay, it's about 48 minutes. Is that too long? Like, I don't know. You're just like smooth sailing because you've done what am I at? I'm 245. You said
245. Yeah.
Yeah. See, I got a good memory.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. So you said that I was 245, and I'm like, yeah. For me, this is like number 3.
Well,
I'm getting used to interviews. I couldn't even imagine being the leader of one.
What is like the most common stuff you get asked the other couple podcasts you've been on? People go,
just like what software I use. What's my favorite memory on set, and you've experienced one of my favorite memories, like working for Holly Berry. Like, she's hot as hell. We had the Bullet. Who is that lady? Valentina. She's like the best. Oh my god!
Right. Yeah.
To actually like see her and have stunt doubles and just a dedication for a week. Like, I was saying that was one of my favorite experiences because I watched this lady go from the Flintstones, me as a child, and watched her do like love scenes, be Storm and the X-Men, and now she's my boss. What? Yeah. What just happened? That escalated so quickly, and it was just like the best experience. So I get questions like that, like, and about my past with the drugs and everything, or like, I guess a lot of people want to know like who my abusers were for some reason, and
that's not nobody's business.
Yeah, I don't really ever answer those ones, like I said, but
yeah, I mean,
people just want to know like the nasty stuff.
I think people are looking for. I don't want to generalize too much, but I think that some people are looking for like a headline or a clickable clickbait, like sauce. Like, they want the juice. But I honestly, want you to be able to walk away from something like this with me and be like, that was cool, and that like I feel good about what I was sharing with Corey. Like
It's
that kind.
already cool because it's you, and we've been friends. So I feel like way. I don't know. So you know how like I guess not for you anymore because I'm 245, but for me, I get nervous with interviews because I always feel like, man, I should have said that, and I always plan to do shout outs, and sometimes you forget in the moment, because some question didn't come up that brought you to that. So like I don't know. I'm not smooth like you, man. I'm just not. I'll
You know,
stick to writing songs. That's my thing.
do you know what happened? I used to be very nervous. I used to be very, very nervous. I think,
Really?
yeah. Well, you know that me and Rick we used to film stuff, right? We used to do comedy sketches, and I would be so nervous before every shot. Like I would always be super nervous, and like my heart would be beating. And then like when I would go out and do wrestling shows, like, and I like have to like speak on the mic or something, I'd be so nervous. And it just got to a point where it's like, well, I mean, what I kind of started looking at it like, well, just act like nobody's going to hear it or see it. Like it's it's the weirdest thing, but I'm like, the circumstance, the consequences are not that high when no one's paying attention. So it's kind of like my words in a vacuum. And I say like I'll treat it like, and I'll say it sometimes, but like I should really learn to stop doing it. Where I'll be like, oh, my podcast is like a tree falling in the woods. Like, oh, did it really make a sound if no one heard it? And
That's not going to be true for long.
But it's very much like I just want to make sure that the importance. Thank you for saying that, by the way. But the importance of the sincerity exists inside of it, and if the nerves are too high, the sincerity is hard to flow through.
Yeah.
So it would be like I would just be kind of reacting to the conversation instead of creating the conversation. And I think I also got a good amount of experience with it with doing the wrestling podcast that I do.
Yeah.
So it's like I've been podcasting for since
that's
like
what I mean. You're committed. You're dedicated to the craft of podcasting because I couldn't figure out, a different person to speak to every week, or if they bailed on me, oh my God, I need a replacement. Or do you even panic, or do you just, all right, I'm not doing it this one?
Well, it's become to the point where I was talking about that not taking things personally thing.
Yeah.
Because I'm so used to, being in the entertainment business, since I was 14 years old, being in the entertainment business, being told no, being ignored, being minimalized, being invalidated, and taking all that personally for so long, or get to the point where I'm like, well, they'll find it. They'll come when they want to come, and if somebody wants to not respond to me, my request to have them as a guest, whatever. I know plenty of people. I know plenty of other people, and I'm constantly meeting people. That's what's super cool about having this platform. Also, is that like I get to have interesting conversations with people who I've never met before, and I get to make great friends with people who I have friends. I have friends in other states that I had never ever met before. But like my friend Justin lives in Florida. He just called me today. Like he's from Washington State. We were friends when he lived in Washington, and now he just moved down to Florida. He called me today to try to go over a bit with me. He's a comic, and it's like it's really cool. And that's awesome. have to give a shout out real quick to my friend Dan Webb from Grand Rapids, Michigan. he tunes in every episode, and he's been on one. And I'm super stoked to have him as a close friend. And we just met through this, and
Cool.
it's a neat world. And
Dan Webb, follow me on everything. Come on.
well, he's got a impressive TikTok following now. Webslinger25. Webslinger25.
TikTok. I'll follow you.
Okay.
You have to send. I don't know. Actually, it's just I like back. Anybody that likes me, I like back usually. I'm pretty close to my numbers. That's the thing. Like, I'm not like going for what most celebrities like go for, and they want to be the star. Like, I'm just trying to get my music in your films and your TV shows. So it's like a different type of, like Ariana Grande and all them are going for Grammys and stuff. It's not a popularity thing for me. I'm just kind of like Netflix. Who needs an opening? Anybody? I make some scary tunes. Ghost hunters. So I like the fact that I don't need to have millions of fans, because to be honest, I don't even know how people do that.
Well, it's weird.
I feel like in a much better position where I'm at. I don't want to sound like arrogant, or I don't want to sound entitled in any way, but like when I talk to other friends of mine who don't know what it's like to have fans, like it's and I'm like, yeah, it kind of sucks sometimes. Like it sucks. Like, because sometimes they're so like glad-handed, and they have a purpose, like they want something, and it's like you're a story for them to tell later. Like, some of them. I don't want to like shit on fans, but like I've had fans hate me since I was not my fans, but just wrestling fans hate me since I was a kid. So like I have my experiences where my guard's going to be up, and I want this platform to not be that. I don't want my guard up. I want to have full vulnerability, because like that's how we learn things. That's how we evolve. Yeah.
Anyway, the reason I was telling you about on the record stuff, I wanted to make sure that if I were to pass away, you would have the audio of me telling you that I love you, and and you could go back and listen to it. Also,
well, good. Now you have the audio to tell you that from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate you as a person. I think about you on my own time years later, and I love you too. You're a very good friend of mine, and a very genuine person, and a very non-judgmental person, and a very open heart. I admire that about you. I feel like we are attracted to certain people in our lives for reasons, and your spirit just, it gives me hope. Your open-mindedness about things. I've always admired it.
Thank you. I wasn't searching for compliments. I was not fishing for them. But I'll accept them, and I'll receive them, and I appreciate them very, very much. Thank you. I did want to give you the opportunity on the record right now to like ask me anything, or say anything to me, like on the record, that you'd like to say. I mean, you just said all that stuff on the record. So like, besides that stuff,
will you marry me?
Well, you can't, because you got that thing.
I just spilled my heart out.
Oh, you just laid it on the table.
This has been a great interview, though. I feel like that's what I love about this, because I feel like we're really just talking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I kind of forget that this is like what it is. I just honestly felt like this was a video chat the whole time.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is. This isn't going anywhere. I'm not doing anything with
This is wonderful, though. I love your whole setup. It's like way nicer than when you. I'm not saying it was ever bad, because it wasn't. You're always the shizzle, my nizzle. But this looks really good now.
Thank you.
I mean, terrible. Sorry.
No, but I mean, at a certain point, like I think I told you about this. When I first started doing the podcast, I was doing it in like a professional radio studio, right? But the thing is, I only got studio time on like Mondays and Saturdays, and it's like, oh, I had to line all my guests up to wind up having them come into the studio on Mondays or Saturdays, and like people didn't want to come into the studio, like I have to drive all the way to Fairless Hill, and it was like, all right, so. And then I started doing them where I'd go meet them somewhere and I'd bring my iPad with me and I was just recording them on my iPad. So like the good chunk through the middle of what is Evolving with Cord Castle was just iPad recorded podcasts. But they sounded great. I mean, they sounded better than the studio mics in the studio that I was in.
They sounded better than the studio. Yeah, you're funny.
So I'm very grateful. I'm very, very grateful that I've evolved to this point, but I'm still calling it an evolving process because it can always get better. And
what's going to get better than this? This is great.
Well,
this is good.
Well, I'm on the floor in my living room.
You can't tell.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll sit on the floor with you. Do you want me to sit on the floor with you? Would it make you feel better?
But
Mike can move. I'm actually in my studio too. It's a mess. Maybe we shouldn't go on the floor. I don't want to give myself away.
Yeah. You just keep yourself to yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't want to give it away.
This is where I hide from my children and get my work done and make the sounds of creaking doors and the sounds of people stabbing victims.
Dude, I'm so happy that you get to do that. That's so awesome.
I was in here stabbing a watermelon the other day. It was really weird. Like, yeah, it's gonna sound really realistic. It's been a fun ride. I have some pretty interesting footage that I plan to like piece together so people can see what I really do.
Yeah, it's just like for like a real kind of thing.
Yeah, I guess I keep hearing like this TikTok thing, so I'm gonna get into it.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Rosie O'Donnell's doing it. I'll do it. I'll give it a shot.
What's doing it?
Rosie O'Donnell.
Oh, Rosie O'Donnell.
Yeah, like apparently she took it over and she does like this TikTok you don't stop thing. So I'm like, if she can do it.
I love Rosie. I love Rosie.
And I enjoy the Flintstones like morning coffee creamer, that's trending. So it's just like, it's all a sign. I'm going to give it a shot.
Well, I give Rosie O'Donnell credit for like me discovering what stand-up comedy was. Like she used to host a show on like VH1 that was like a stand-up comedy show.
I didn't know that.
It was like a late night stand-up comedy show. And I think Rosie hosted it. And I was like, what is this job? That's what I want to do with my life. And that's how I got into stand-up comedy, was through then those old VH1
but now you're like a champion wrestler.
Well, I'm doing stand-up comedy as often as possible too. Like I just did a showcase on Wednesday, and I just booked another showcase right now. Like while I was sitting here before we got on the phone, or before we got on the air or whatever. I guess we're not on the phone. You're on the phone, but
yeah, I'm on the phone.
Yeah. But I just have a few more things, and then I'll send you off into the sunset with a hot dog and a handshake. Right off into the sunset like champs.
Sweet.
All right. So I have a segment that I call audio time travel, wherein which I ask you to speak directly to the 2041 version of your loved ones who are here. Who knows where we'll be in 20 years from now? Who knows where you'll be? But you're speaking to your son who discovered this audio, discovered this video, discovered that his mom was on a podcast called Evolving with Corey Castle. What are the things that you're saying to him that are messages directly from 2021 and the best ways to be inspired, to be a better version of himself? Your sons. You could say sons.
So, like, this would be me speaking to my sons right now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, first and foremost, thank you so much for giving me the honor of being your mother. It's the realest love I ever felt. This is going to make me cry. I would just like hope that they would know the life changes that I made for them, and that I would go through anything, even sacrifice my own satisfaction, so that you would never have to feel an ounce of what I felt as a child. And you guys are the joy of my life and my purpose, the most important role that was ever given to me, the greatest gift. And I just hope that I teach you to never look through the eyes of the majority. That's it. Just thank you.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, when it comes to my kids, like, that's the realest thing ever. That's so. If you stumble across this, I love you guys so much. That's my real MVPs.
Those are some lucky boys.
Yeah.
Those are some lucky boys. So the way we wrap up every episode.
And Maverick, you're grounded.
How old is he now?
For the rest of your life, he's 4.
So for context, what are their ages so that they can hear that when they're adults?
Kai's 2 and Maverick's 4.
You say Kai?
Kai.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
That's so like my little Serenity. Yeah. Yeah, he's pretty cool.
Okay. So the way we wrap up every time is I will say hypothetically I've gifted you this show. So from now on it's Evolving with Bethany. This has been your first episode, the pilot episode to your new podcast, Evolving with Bethany. And in a very Jerry Springer's final thought type of way, the takeaways, the lessons that we can gather to help us grow and guide us in our growth. And then after you do that, however long it takes you to do that, say whatever you need to say whatever you want to say, anything that you've got in your heart and your feelings, and you want to get your shout outs in, go right for it, do whatever you got to do. And then at the end of that, in your best impression of Alf from the 80s, say, "Hey, Willie," just to keep it silly.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, okay. Then do your best impression of anything. What's your best impression?
If I told you that, I'd have to kill you. I'm a method actress, coach. I can't tell you that.
Oh, okay. Well, then just do it, and don't tell me what it is, and say whatever you want to say.
That's all right. I'll just say what I got to say. But
hair flip.
I don't know. I just wait, what was the what
So do a
you
Jerry.
thrown a lot of good things at me right there.
Okay. Okay. So in a Jerry Springer's final thought type of way, how would you wrap up the first episode of your podcast and give the life lessons and the takeaways that people listening can be inspired by?
In a Jerry Springer type of way, like I need to. Where's my ex-boyfriend? Like, we'll be like fist fighting and stuff. That's how you got to end that show. You can't end Jerry Springer without fist pumps and blood and
do you remember that Jerry Springer at the end of every show had like a
rubbing
final?
Steve's head. Like, I need Steve.
You're such a goofball. I dig it though.
This is not the Jerry Springer setting.
Right. Yes. You need some
No, but my life lessons are. Look, I just want to leave my audience with like and follow, subscribe, everything, especially with Corey Castle here because he's the man and the best. And then also me because I have really great music. And if you're ever like going through something and going through a dark time and need to get to the light, I'm your girl. I'm the vessel. So I always like try to leave that on anything that I'm talking about. But in all seriousness, it does get better. Anything that you're going through, just remember that problems are temporary. So let's not make permanent solutions to temporary problems. And that's really my purpose on this earth, is to just remind people that we don't have to make permanent solutions to temporary problems, that you can see through anything. And for my platform, I just want to let people know it's an anti-bully area. It's an acceptance area. It's, a place where it's a no judgment zone. That's, even if I sound judgmental, just know like I've been through stuff. It's just like, I'm a slave to the music. It's not me. So that's all I really have to say. So if that's like Jerry Springer-ish, that's cool. I put slave in there. Whips and chains. Is that Jerry Springer for you?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Good job. Good job. I just want to make sure.
I don't know if I have any questions for you.
If I can just piggyback off of that real quick. I want to kind of remind everybody to be kinder to who you are. I mean, you spend the most time with you than anybody else. Why not love it? Why not love who you absolutely like? You have ways to bend over backwards to justify why you're not good enough or why this is bad or that's bad. Stop with the excuses. Just understand that, like,
yeah,
we're all going through stuff. Everybody's got weights to carry, and maybe put some of it down. Maybe put some of that down, and reach out to your friends and ask them if they're doing okay. Check in with people, and tell the people.
Definitely a better thing when you're like asking about other people sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And doing for other people and not expecting anything in return. That's always a wonderful thing, because I think we sometimes take for granted how rich we actually are, just being healthy, because a lot of people don't wake up with that,
right.
and just
gratitude.
I think just having a little bit more gratitude in life is a wonderful thing, but just also being aware that it's not all bad. I don't ever want to be like, oh, well, people are worse off, but that is the truth. There's some people that wake up that wish that they weren't even, with a mind that's made to shut down. And, a lot of us are surviving that too. So like, if you are somebody that survived that, I think that's also beautiful. I just want anybody that would ever stumble across this to just know that I am able to identify with anybody who's been through something. And I can show you how to just become a completely different person and find joy again.
Yeah, that's your whole character. You are the inspiration of
finding you again, finding
you,
your why. And even if that means you have to cut people out of your life because, like you said, maybe you don't want to water down your own flavor. So maybe your flavor's not right for certain people. That's a definite thing too. Not everybody's gonna like your flavor, but don't water yourself down. Just like, go where people are thirsty for some lemonade. Like, if you're a little tangy for this group, that's fine. I always say, like, you don't need other people's approval to have any merit to your voice or any validation in life. Just as long as you're doing what's right for you and the next right thing, the best choice for you and your family, I don't see how anybody could hate on that other than it being hate on great. So, you have to make choices, not trying to please everybody else. You'll be a much happier person. That's where I found a lot of my joy.
To quote Rocky IV, if I can change, if I can change and you can change, we all can change.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. If this
I'm sorry, it's actually starting to break up now. Is this a good time?
So, I just want to say to anybody listening, if this is your first time checking out Evolving with Corey Castle, if you tuned in just to check out Bethany, I mean, if you watched the video just to check out how pretty Bethany is, and you stuck around the whole time, cool. Go ahead and leave a comment below in the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Corey Castle. Make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure also, if you're subscribed on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, new episodes come out every Monday at noon Eastern time. Also, let me know you exist. I like the feedback. I really do. I dig it. I mean, I like feeling like it's not a tree falling in the woods.
Yeah, and I like making friends, everybody. So if you follow me, let me know like you're here. I will get right back to you, Thank you very much for this time and using your platform to just, get to know me a little bit better.
Let's do this
catch
more.
Up.
Let's do this again. I want to meet your boys. I want to meet your boys. I want to meet your husband. Let's make it all happen. Let's be fun and have safe.
We're waiting for you to get on TV. They watch you on YouTube.
Oh, cool. Cool. That's awesome. I love it.
Maverick's a fan of you already. The little one doesn't know what's going on yet. But
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to meet them. I'm happy that I know you. I'm happy that we know each other. I'm glad to see that you're thriving. I hope everybody will check out old episodes of the podcast and like all this stuff and be fun, have safe, keep evolving.
Bye.
Bye.